So, you are in your last lap of your revision. So, how far is your preparation for the main paper, that is GS4? You know why? Every year, your selection into the list after the mains is determined by your marks in GS4, your marks in your optional paper, and then your marks in your GS3 and essay mark. These four items will determine whether you are gonna be in the final list or you are gonna be out of the list. I'm saying this very sincerely because after seeing the topper strategy and topper's mark sheets for the different years, if you analyze this yourself, take a moment, analyze it, you can understand that every topper will be having a high score in either GS3 or GS4, or their high score will be in essay. So if you're scoring good in these four papers, you are in the list. No one can stop you. Now everyone will be in a stage whether your ethics preparation is up to the mark or not. So if you're in the same dilemma, here we will solve it. How? We will do a four-part approach to cover the 100 core issues that has happened, the 100 contemporary issues, not like a normal current affairs that you have here in the newspaper analysis. But what we will do, we will find the 100 issues, the contemporary issues, and we will cover it in four parts, like what is the ethical framework of it. Okay, and we will define the issue. Then we'll find out what is the ethical dilemma in that. We will give an example of how to describe that issue, and we will look for a way forward option. So if you are covering this 100 issues, that is, we are covering the most important current affairs that has already had an ethical impact from the 2022 to 2025. So if you're covering this, you are gonna get for sure into the list. Okay, now we will cover the first issue. The first issue is Pegasus surveillance. You know why it is an ethical issue. Why it is an ethical issue? Spying something is an ethical issue. Breaching someone's privacy, looking into someone's door, peeping into someone's life. It is always a matter of privacy. Now, if you remember your GS2 portion completely, remember the Puttaswamy judgment. You know it, the Article 21. It always highlights the right to privacy as per the Supreme Court judgment, right? Now, the case in Pegasus surveillance is an ethical issue. Why? It is not just about the privacy of an individual. It is a debate between the privacy of the individual plus national security, which will be the angle that you have to take. So there is a ethical issue here. There is a dilemma. The ethical dilemma means only one thing, that is both are right. National security is also important, while the same way you have to protect each and every citizen's individual privacy also, because right to privacy is a right to life. So if you are an officer, how you will balance this? Okay, now it is already a high time why this will be an issue in a court constitution, because you know that the recent Pahalgam attack. Okay, so can these kind of issues be solved? Can these kind of issues be tackled if you are giving more importance to the national security and then giving less importance to individual privacy? So how far you can bring a right balance to this? So the issue is defined as the use of military-grade spyware on civilians, often without a judicial oversight. This is raising concerns about the privacy and the constitutional morality. Okay, what is the constitutional morality in this? What is the constitutional morality in this? Because constitutional morality is very much important, because more than the social morality, if the state is saying something is right or wrong, that doesn't matter in the eyes of Supreme Court. Always the constitutional morality stands ahead. Now, the real life example is 2021 Pegasus scandal, where the activists, the journalists, and opposition leaders were targeted. So why? If you have to say that the individual privacy is important, this is one important point. But the same way, if you have, the question is sidelining you to support having a surveillance is important for national security, you can side by saying this Pahalgam issue. Suppose if we had such kind of Pegasus surveillance in a strong method, people who were the normal YouTubers who were there in our country itself, who were working as a spy, we could have tackled those kind of issues. So we can highlight in that way also. Now, what is the way forward and suggestion? Because it is an ethical point, you are having a dilemma, you have to conclude it some way in a way that looks positive, right? a balanced approach. So, enact robust data protection legislation and ensure independent oversight and follow the justice of Puttaswamy judgment given by the Supreme Court and adopt a proportionality principle. It is related to ethics. Like in ethics, whenever you're saying an answer, you have to write which of the ethical theory or the principle that can be adopted in each cases. So these are the main keywords or the core words which you can associate with this kind of issue. So Pegasus surveillance radar ethical dilemma question can be a probability because in 2022 to 2025 news, it is one of the important why it is having high traction importance now. It's just because now the Pahalgam attack has happened. So on based on those kind of events, it is throwing more light that why we should focus more on national security than to have a debate on the individual privacy. Okay, so we will move to the next second issue. Now, the next ethical issue is election freebies. Now, I cannot start this without mentioning the Gandhian ethics. You remember the seven sins according to the Gandhian ethics? So, one sin is that one among the seven sins of Gandhian ethics is a politics without a proper principle is one of the seven sins. Then, now moving on to Rawls theory of fairness. As you're in your last minute of your revision, I hope you remember what Rawls' theory of fairness suggests. If you don't remember, I'm just reminding you. It is not, Rawls' theory is not just important for this one issue. It is important for even the environmental issues. Many kind of issues in ethics you can relate with Rawls' theory. So always try to include usage of Rawls' theory. Why? Because policies should benefit the least advantaged, but it should benefit in a way the policies are benefiting the least advantaged people in a sustainable manner. So, least advantaged people, okay, advantaged people, while sustainable. These are the core keyword in Ross theory. So whenever one policy is implemented by government, the government should ensure that these policies are benefiting the downtrodden sections of the society, the vulnerable sections of the society, like the women, the women, the third gender, and other elderly people, etc. But in the same time, those policies should be sustainable. Now, let's look at the election freebie issue. What is the definition of this issue here? The distribution of goods, services, pre-election to influence the voters, often funded through the public money. The main ethical issue here is not giving a pre-election freebies. It's not about giving someone the freebies. It's all about we are using those things to influence the voters. That is one thing. Okay. So when a influencing is happening in the voters' mind, that is not as per the constitution. Okay. Second thing, the major thing that is affecting the public purse. Why? It is affecting the public money. When the public money is being put for this kind of influencing the voters, the party that is winning is getting the votes, but the people are thrown into debt because the public debt of each state will be increasing. The state debt will be increasing. So what is the dilemma here? Welfare state. What is welfare state? We want to help the people who are downtrodden, who are the vulnerable sections of our society. So we always come up with many kind of policies. But whenever these policies with the aim of welfare state, when it comes at the time just before the election, there lies the concept of ethical question. Why you have chosen this precise time? You could have always chosen some other time to help the people. But the case in India is like we are a country who's having a 12-month around election. Suppose one state will be under election in January, the other state will go in election for February. So like that, each state will be going in election at different times. So throughout a year, we are having elections in each state. Now, the welfare state concept versus the fiscal discipline and ethical electoral practice. These are the three key ethical dilemmas here. First thing, we want to implement welfare state concepts, but while we are doing it, we should have a fiscal discipline also. And third thing is that when we are doing all these things, why we are focusing these kind of policies, we are pushing these policies towards the election time. So that again issues a question on ethical electoral practices. Okay, so the three dilemmas. Now real life example, if you see that free gadgets, electricity, etc. were offered in state elections. Example UP election. Example the Punjab election of 2022. Remember the Punjab election. Why this is the ethical issue? Because after the Punjab election of 2022, if you see after the election freebies, the Punjab state was in a huge debt. Okay, these kind of physical issue. I mean the fiscal issue. Whatever happening is here because of these things is rising the state debt. Okay. Now, what is the way suggestion? Supreme Court has given a graded regulatory framework for this. That is, Supreme Court suggested that it is a highly concern situation because the rising trend of the political parties whenever they're promising the freebies only to canvass the voters. Okay, like laptops, gold, bikes, electricity, etc. They are getting the election result. Okay, they are winning the people's mind through offering them these freebies. But the people should be taught, the voters should be taught that whenever such kind of policies you are getting the freebies, sometimes that comes in the cost of your public health care. Sometimes that comes in the cost of your infrastructure. For example, take a village there the main demand will be a proper road. Okay, but during the election time road may not be the concern. They will just sway away the matter of the road because it is an infrastructure item that may cost high. But in that area they will be promising that we will offer you like one packet of biryani for each people. There are states in which still biryani is one thing that can even capture the votes. Okay, biryani and one packet of liquor will also capture the vote. There are states in India who are running those kind of vote tactics. Okay, so what Supreme Court suggested that these kind of things will be coming in the cost of the public healthcare, the public infrastructure, etc. So the voters should be properly educated that whenever they are getting a freebies, sometimes they may have to lose something very important because getting a laptop or getting a gold, etc. that will be only benefiting them, their generation only for one time. Till the next vote they are not getting any kind of benefit. But if a road is coming, if infrastructure development is happening, everyone in that area will be having a smooth access to the transport. The transport facilities may help in bringing up more schools to that area. Many new developments can happen in that area. So these kind of things will be bringing more prosperity to the economy. But they are forgetting it and just running behind these kind of election freebies. So that is where the ethical issue lie here. And Supreme Court suggested a neutral panel should be set up. Okay, it should involve the Finance Commission of India, the Election Commission of India, and Niti Aayog. And also, what happens that the pre-election promises, the Niti Aayog should focus that whether these promises are fulfilled. If they are fulfilled, if they are harming the public finance, that is one thing. So this is the ethical dilemma in the election freebies. Okay, this is also another important issue. Now we will cover the next important third issue. Like this, we'll cover 100 main issues in a 4-point format. While you know the ethical dilemma here, what is the background, what is one valid example that we can quote over there, and what is the result of having a issue like this. So when the ethical dilemma one option is chosen, for example here we have stated that the welfare state concept and the electoral ethical practice. In our country we are having a 365-day election. That is every month there is election in one state. So in that kind of state we cannot push the welfare state concept completely, saying that this is against the ethical electoral practice. So that is one point. So we are taking a balanced approach. We are not supporting that like a election previous is completely waste. We are taking a balanced approach. Always balanced approach is what a topper's answer will look like. Okay, we will cover the next issue. Okay, third issue that we have to discuss is a deepfake harassment. Here, technology and ethics. Whenever you get a question on technology and ethics, always use this keyword like responsible innovation. Responsible innovation. Okay, don't forget because this is a keyword that can fetch you marks. So, why responsible innovation? AI is a beautiful innovation, but the problems that AI is creating in this new world is unbearable. It cannot be, it is like irreparable kind of ethical issues that it is creating every day. Now, deepfake issue, it has caused many kind of problem. First, what is the definition of this issue? Manipulating visual or audio content using AI to impersonate or defame the individual. See, defamation is against a personal liberty. Okay, you're affecting someone's Article 14, you're affecting someone's Article 21, and even you're affecting someone's Article 19. Okay, and now how you can relate this to ethical theory? You remember the deontological ethical theory? So if you remember that, you have to connect that with the Kantian or the deontological ethics. That is, deepfakes violate the principles of respect for persons, treating others just as an end, not like a means. Treating someone as an end, not as a means. Okay, because we are purely focusing on getting the entertainment because of entertainment by pushing someone else in a deepfake. Okay, so we are not respecting the person. We are violating the principle of respect for that person and treating others, someone else as an end and not as a means. Consent is the key. That is another important keyword you have to write. Next thing, virtue ethics. Okay, you can relate it with virtue ethics. I'm giving you different kind of ethical approach to it. You can use one approach. Okay, that will be much better. Whichever is coming to your mind, you can use it. This deontological approach you can use for many things. For example, the consent is a key. When it comes to the case of marital rape, you can use this. When it comes to the case of rape, etc., you can use that. Hiding the identity of a rape victim, even in that case, you can use this. Okay. Then next one is that virtue ethics. So as per Gandhi or as per Aristotle, the virtue ethic says that you must promote the truthfulness, the compassion, and restraint. But here, deepfake is a clear violating of the moral character. So that is, leave this to Gandhian or Aristotle. Okay, when you're talking about this virtue ethics. The third thing is that you can relate this to Rowlesian justice. Where can I write this? Okay, that is to Rowlesian ethics. So here, what the justice says that unequal harm often targets the least advantaged, that is the women who are the least advantaged people, they are being targeted, or vulnerable groups, even in that case also women, the elderly people, the children. The child pornography is one of the major ethical issue that has risen sharply because of this AI. Okay, hence whatever that is harming other people, it is unjust. Next thing, you can use the concept of utilitarianism. Okay, harm to public trust and personal dignity outweighs any kind of perceived entertainment or the viral gain from the deepfakes. That is net negative utility. Okay, net negative utility. So this question, if you are connecting this with utilitarian approach of ethics, you have to use this word. Final, your verdict is that is net negative utility. Okay. Now what is the ethical dilemma? Freedom of expression. As per the freedom of expression, you can express anything, but balanced approach of protection from the psychological and reputational harm that you can cause to other person. Examples 2024 celebrity target deepfakes and misuse in even political propaganda. Then fourth one is the main point, that is way forward. We have to ensure clear legislation is always there for the AI, and then awareness campaigns should be done. Ethical tech design and Digital India Act provisions should be very strong to act against the AI misuse. Okay, this is the third issue. Then we will move forward for the fourth issue. So now the next ethical issue, that is the fourth one that we are discussing, is the latest news based on the in a house of judge there was so much of bundles of cash that was burned. So that is judicial bribery allegation case. So here you can use Rowlesian fairness theory as well as Gandhi's trusteeship. Okay, so your answer should revolve around this. So what kind of question can be expected? That is the ethical dilemma related to the judiciary's ethics, ethics of the judiciary, ethics of the law, as well as the corporate handling. Those kind of angle questions can also be expected. Then now the definition of the case is that cash stash found at judge premises raises question of judicial corruption. So judicial corruption in judiciary is a important thing, because it is a it is deteriorating the constitution itself. It is a huge thing that will have a huge burden on the society, because the judiciary, if they have an excess with any kind of any corporates or any other persons, then the law will fail. In a state, if the law fails, the entire state system will also fail, because there will not be any kind of fairness. The trust will not be there, because the trust will be eroding slowly. So, judicial corruption versus public accountability. Why public accountability is the issue? Because whenever a case happens, whenever something wrong happens to you, the first person you approach will be a court. So if the person in the court itself is not trustworthy, if they themselves are corrupt enough, then which will be the place in which the public can have the accountability for their own issue? That is one issue. Like how the public will gain justice from people who are corrupt. That is one issue. So in this way, you can expect a question like judicial corruption versus public accountability. That is one angle. Okay. Or now the ethical dilemma here is the judicial independence versus institutional accountability, or public accountability can also be asked. The deterioration of constitutional officers, the ethical deterioration of the constitutional officers, those can be the lines in which the questions can be framed. Then here, real life example, as you all know, the recent case, the large case of cash seizure. That is, we have seen so much abundance of note has been burned. So 2025 latest, very latest incident. So this can be a potential question area. Then what's the way forward in these kind of cases? Transparent in-house inquiry mechanism. But this is one thing that we can see that soon after this case, the present CJA has already started with a strong interrogation, like a in-house inquiry mechanism has been taken in a way ahead forward. Okay, it was not delayed. It was not delayed. Okay, then the judicial conduct code, there should be a judicial conduct code, like how a judges should be. Even that is coming now. Okay, that judges who are in the offices after the retirement, they should not be engaging in any kind of, mostly they should not get into other kind of position. Those kind of recommendations are coming, but they are not right now in a paperwork. They are not like a law. Okay, and then the parliamentary oversight model. So this is all about the fourth issue. Okay, now the next issue is the SEBI FIR controversy. In SEBI like questions, what happens is that it can be a question like you are a staff, you are a newly recruited staff in SEBI. The question angle can be this, and you come to know that there has been a huge level of corruption in the tier 1 level or the head level of your SEBI office. So how you will be taking this forward, because you want to show the public accountability. So how you will be taking it forward? So that can be one issue. It can be one way in which the question can frame. Now, the SEBI FI controversy, the one issue you all know that allegation of the financial misconduct involving regulatory head, highlighting the conflict of interest. Because why conflict of interest? Because staffs of the SEBI itself were protesting on this matter. Okay. Now, ethical dilemma here is the regulatory neutrality versus proximity to the corporates. This is something same like the judge case. Okay, like the cash case judge corruption. Both case here also, someone who is having a highly esteemed position, if they are having a proximity to corporates, if they are having a proximity to any political parties, if they are getting any kind of corruption related of associates, okay, then there is always a lack of ethics over here. So these kind of questions will definitely come in a range like you are an officer, you are a new advocate, or something in those lines can be expected, or you are a journalist. So you can expect questions in these kind of line, like you will be put in a situation where you have to analyze, because if you bring up this issue, you may face some kind of issue. But if you don't bring up these kind of issue to the public, you will definitely have some kind of profit to reap in this. So which stand you will take, how you will have a perfect balance of that. And also in this case, there may be situation like they will say that you are already in a trouble, you definitely need this job, or you are having a financial issue. So by having all these kind of issues, you are witnessing some kind of ethical dilemma is there. Okay, some kind of corruption is there. In such cases, how a person who already himself has so many problems will deal with these kind of problems, because in this dealing those problems that can turn to be a social evil should be prioritized. Okay, Now the next thing is that the real life example FIR against ex SEBI chair in the ICICI Vidicon matter case. Okay, then way forward is like a simple a cooling off period post tenure. Then declaration of assets should be there in every time, because in most of the office post, most of the post in which the government service is there, the declaration of asset is now coming as a mandatory. Even in the judiciary also, something in that line is coming up. Okay, ethics code to regulators, it is already there. That's why recently in last month there was an article stating the proper finances of each and every judge, highlighting who has the highest investment, highlighting their whatever is the asset, that is the fixed asset, the floating asset, whatever that they have earned so far, including some of them who are already investors, their revenue, their potential, everything was listed already. Okay, so those kind of declaration of asset will definitely help in having a transparency, because they cannot hide their assets. Okay, so when they are not able to hide their asset, the corruption will dramatically reduce. Okay, so we have so far discussed the 5 issues, then we will take the next 5 issues in the next video. Okay, so if you have liked this content, you can already subscribe to our channel, and also let us know your opinions on what kind of questions is troubling you in the ethics sessions. We will cover those kind of questions also. Okay, thank you.